I had a player in the NHL on a team currently sitting in a playoff spot tell me that the Winnipeg Jets are the biggest frauds in the league and that they'll lose in the first round.
Wow.
I know. I said, holy shit. He goes, they're not nearly as good as anyone said.
It was a player on their own team. Huh.
Wow, really? Frauds, huh? That's a tough word.
I know. I was like, wow. I said, I think they look pretty good.
The Jets have officially arrived. The collapse that we all expect every single year in the second half of the season past the All-Star break has finally come. And even in a year where everything seemed to be going perfectly right for the Winnipeg Jets, where they finally found stability, where they improved their offense, their defense, everything in the early halves of the season that led to this team being a number one in the team in the NHL for a moment and being a top team in the Western Conference for pretty much the entire season up until the last month and a half. It has been a brutal couple of months in Winnipeg, and it's only getting worse the closer we get to the playoffs. The Jets right now are riding a 6-game losing streak that is just seeing some of their worst hockey and worst effort, I should add as well, of the entire season. And it's just so frustrating. The coaching staff has no idea what to do with this team. It doesn't matter if it's Rick Bowness, Scott Arniel, the power play with Brad Lauer, or anything else. The entirety of this team right now is in utter collapse mode. And I, for one, just don't know what to do. You know, you listened to Rick Bowness last night talking about the lines and the loss and everything like that. This was the first time this man had put Ehlers and with Scheifele and Lardy back together, and it was just because to get some offense. Now's the time when you want to get some offense going. Like, I love Rick Bowness. I was a big defender of him all season long, but the last month, I've just lost it. You know, Rick Bowness left the team for a while. Scott Arniel came in. He didn't do a much better job either on getting this team back to where they are. Brad Lauer is the worst power play coach of the entire NHL and should be fired into the sun. You know, like, Scott Arniel hasn't done anything. Like, I thought Scott Arniel, when he came in, would really start to stabilize things. He didn't change anything. The tops line is still the worst top line in hockey, arguably, for 5-on-5 production and play. They have just been atrocious. You know, those game cards there are this the last couple of games, but if I go back, it's even worse. You know, Rick Bowness was an all-star this year, and at this point, it's like, oh, throw in the towel, at least we tried. It's ridiculous to see where the Jets are.
You blew it!
You know, the fact that Sean Monahan, Tyler Toffoli, you add Colin Miller, who's only played a couple of games anyway, you know, like, every move that this team has made has been, in my opinion, pretty damn well and worked out pretty damn well. You're getting good effort from these guys, good play, they're fitting in well. Like, I don't think this Jets team necessarily is, you know, over. Like, I think this team is pretty damn good. The biggest thing that comes down to it, in my opinion, is the fact that they're just shitting the bed at the worst possible time. This is the first time all year you've had 4 sellouts in a row, and you look at the last 3 games at home, and they're all been terrible losses. Like, you want the fans to show up when they're not showing up all year long, and that's the effort you're going to put in when the fans finally start to sell the game out. And on top of it, 500 games for Connor Hellebuyck, and that's the performance you put in front of your goaltender? Like, absolutely insane. Connor Hellebuyck is having a Vezina year, one of his best years in the NHL, and it's all, you know, looks like it's going to be wasted away again for nothing, you know? Like I said, Colin Miller has barely played with this team. Dylan Sandberg's the guy that's been coming out. The defense is in shambles right now, in my opinion. Tyler Toffoli, again, has fit in pretty damn well, in my opinion, but his offense, the entire top 6 right now can just not generate any offense, you know? It's so frustrating because Cheveldayoff invested in this team. He believes in this team. Ownership believes in this team. Yet the coaching staff can't seem to get their head out of their ass and figure out what to do. You know, you look at the Jets right now, 3rd in the Central. They're falling. Nashville, thank God, they've lost a couple of games because they would have already overtaken us. Like, Rick Bowness at the start of this year, the best guy in the world seemed like for this team. Like, the only one for this team, it seemed like. You know, the coaching staff just had such a great thing going. And now you look at Brad Lauer, you look at this entire power play this season, season long. It's been disgusting. It's the exact same system. There are better systems right now in the WHL that would be more effective for the Winnipeg Jets than what Brad Lauer continuously throws out night in and night out. If you are in a 1-goal, you're beating the Jets by 1 goal, and you see a timeout in the last minute and Brad Lauer is on the drawing board, I would just pack it up right there and go home because you've won the game already. No need to worry about any efforts there or worrying about playing defense because Brad Lauer's not going to do anything. If Logan Stanley is the biggest draw for a Jets game right now, fighting the last 2 games against Edmonton and going back to this Ottawa game, then something is seriously wrong. If that is your biggest draw and biggest entertainment and biggest spark, in my opinion, for the last couple of games, has been Logan Stanley getting into some scrubs, then yeah, you're in serious trouble. And I don't necessarily know what gets this team out of this, you know? Like, yeah, maybe jumbling the lines of putting Velarde up there with Ehlers and Scheifele, you know, finally dismantling that first line might be the way to get things going. But at the end of the day, like, come on, like, it shouldn't be that hard. Like, if every fan, everyone and their mother that follows this team, writes about this team and talks about this team, can see the problems, you know, and then you put Dylan Samberg, one of the best analytical guys, on the bench the last couple of games as a, you know, extra defenseman, I don't know if that's necessarily the best decision. Everything the Jets keep doing are just facepalm decisions, and it's just so frustrating that, like I said, all season long, the Jets found themselves riding momentum, playing for each other, and finding ways to win hockey games, meaningful hockey games. The last month, it has been nothing but that. This team has collapsed at every opportunity they've had to finally, you know, show some, I don't even know the right word there, that could describe what I'm trying to get going for this team right now. And the problems that it's been, like, there's no momentum, first of all. There's no momentum, there's no second effort, there's no, you know, playing for the guys around you anymore, sitting next to you on the bench. It just seems like this whole team is imploded. You know, and if you think I'm overreacting, that's completely fine. Pause this video right now and go, you know, your thoughts on what you think this problem is. Because in my opinion, I think that 110% the players are fed up. The players know that they can get more out of this team, and it feels like the coaching staff right now is holding them back. It feels like, especially Rick Bowness, is just, you know, he had so much success with what he's rolling out right now in the earlier parts of the season, and teams have adapted and found ways to be successful against the Jets now that rolled out that system. He refuses to adapt himself. I think Rick Bowness is a great locker room guy. I think that, you know, for the most part, he helped this team in tremendous ways get to where they have been all season long. But the point is that at the end of the day, he cannot coach a full season, it seems like. He cannot keep these guys motivated enough, bought in enough, and also keeping the system sharp enough to win hockey games down the line. And that's exactly what we're seeing right now, is that the Jets have no ability to win a hockey game. It doesn't matter if they play great for 1 period, great for 3. They can't play a full 60 minutes. How many times have I said that before? You know, the whole theme to the last couple of weeks, in my opinion, feels like the definition of insanity. From Far Cry 3 Voss. If you've been a watcher of this channel for longer than a year, going back to the Paul Maurice eras, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You know, there's that famous scene in Far Cry 3 where you have Voss, you know, giving this crazy speech about, you know, the definition of insanity and all that crap. And it's how it's just doing the exact same thing time and time again and expecting a different result. And that's exactly what Rick Bowness is doing right now. His system is beat. He's cooked. Brad Lauer is cooked. There's nothing about this team that can't, you know, be seen coming a mile away. Yet they refuse to adapt their systems. They refuse to find a way to incorporate better systems or maybe a more aggressive approach to what they already have. And they just roll out the same crap. And look at the results. You know, getting booed off the ice near the playoff. You're getting booed off the ice from a building that's been sold out for the first time all year. Like, what, 3-4 times in a row? That's what I just said earlier. And you're getting booed out, and you want to try to sell season tickets next year? I don't know, maybe send the right... They could have fired Brad Lauer a long time ago. They could have done something else, but no, because True North doesn't approach the business that way. They're letting it ride out, and they're going to waste another season. Like, I'm sorry, but where the Jets were a few months ago to where they are now, like, I have a trip booked to come and see Winnipeg in the playoffs, you know, in a month from now, near the end of April for the start of the playoffs. I am dreading that trip because I thought this year I was going to see the juggernaut Winnipeg Jets, not the jerts of the last few years. Like, it's ridiculous to see where they are right now. It's tragic. It's frustrating as all hell. The fans are fed up with it. And I feel like the organization should be pretty damn well fed up with it as well. You know, you were in a dominant position a couple of weeks ago, potentially to finally able to finish first for the first time in franchise history, for first in the Central. A division banner, potentially. I don't care if they hang a banner up, but that's the, you know, that's what you call it. Win the banner. They had a chance to do that, a banner year for the Central, and they've pissed it away to a point where they might be in the wild card come playoff time. You go from first in the Central to potentially a wild card team within 3 weeks. Like, thank God they can still 100% make the playoffs, because can you imagine if it got worse than that? Just put yourself in that for a second. Terrified to think about. This team is cooked. can't wait for them to figure out what to do and try to get their heads out of their asses, but at the end of the day, I don't know if I have much faith left in them at this point. So let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. As always, peace, love, and positivity as always. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram. Check out all the affiliate links down in the description below. Have a great rest of your day. Go Jets, go. And boys, wake up!